What is up? It is Big Char Trades back with another video. And in this video, I'm literally just going to be going through this week's price action and Monday through Friday, or this past week's price action, Monday through Friday, and just go over trades that I would or wouldn't have taken. And I'm just going to narrate the whole entire thing. So this might be a longer video, but by the end of it, you'll learn exactly how I trade. Because again, these would be trades or wouldn't be trades exactly that I would take. So with that being said, you just get a sip of that water and yeah, let's get right into the video. This video is just going to be like a complete back testing session from this past week. And at the end of it, we can look at the stats. Started the account with, this is a $250,000 sim account. And yeah, so that being said, let's get right into the video. So as we can see, going into this week, we just swept this sell side liquidity right here. So here, wait, let me turn on the magnet. We just swept the sell side liquidity right here. So I am bullish. I also do know what happened this week, so that is a little bit of a hack. I don't know, cheat, whatever. But this is exactly how I would go into this week. So what I see here is we swept this liquidity, and we are also trading inside, or we respected and closed above this weekly fair value gap. So since we, wait, let me just do that. And then I'm going to make this look as real as possible. Okay, let me make it a little bit. There we go. Okay, since we respected this fair value gap and this one, I am bullish. So with that being said, let's drop down to the daily and let's see what we can do. If you guys are in my Discord, you'll know exactly how I trade. Okay, so on the daily chart, we have this, okay? And since we just determined that I am bullish this week, what is a bullish candlestick? A bullish candlestick is an open, low, high, close, okay? So I am anticipating price to go ahead and open up, make a low, and then distribute higher for the rest of the week. If Monday puts in the low of the week, then it is a classic buy week. So that's Monday, low of week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, down close candle. That's a classic buy week. And then if Tuesday or Wednesday puts in the low of the week, then it's Monday, right? Tuesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. So classic buy week is Monday low week, and then Friday down close candle. So down close, up close, up close, up close, down close. And then if Tuesday low of the week or Wednesday low of the week, it's up close, down close, up close, up close, up close. And then for Wednesday low of the week, it'd be the same. So let's see what happens. Let me just delete these things because they're bothering me. I can just clear drawings. Okay, so let's see what happens on Monday. But before I skip through this candle, I want to drop down and go to the 4 hour and see what's happening there. So let me put it here, 4 hour, 1 hour. Okay, boom. This is Sunday still. You're going to have to bear with me here. Okay. Sunday. Oh, shit. Okay, 2 a.m. candle. 6 a.m. candle. Okay, this is a 10 a.m. candle, so let me delete this bar. Okay, now let me go back. Okay, wait, I want to... Okay, so 6 a.m. candle right here. Gosh, this is kind of annoying. Boom, boom, boom. Still the 6 a.m. Let me drop down to the 1 hour, so see it better. Okay, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Okay, so 9 a.m. All right, now let me drop to the 15-minute. And then the 15-minute time frame. Okay. All right. So right before the 10 a.m. candle is going to open up, what do we have here? We have this huge leg down. This probably would have been a no trade for me just because there's nothing here. Well, let's see what happens. Okay, we're on the 15-minute. So the 10 a.m. candle opens up. And what do we have here? We have this fair value gap. So what I would look for, again, guys, it's just a review of the week. So since we have this, we're immediately displacing to the downside after Sunday's open. I am looking for an open high low close, right? Open high low close. That's a bearish candlestick. Okay, so I want to see price this 10 a.m. candle, right? We just have this is the top wick of that 10 a.m. candle so far. So I want a manipulation into this fair value gap, and then I want an entry model out of it. Okay, and that would be my trade. So let's see what happens. 15-minute. Okay, let me drop down back to we go to the 1 minute. Remember, because the 1 minute is aligned with the 15-minute. So since this is a 15-minute fair value gap, the 1 minute, let me write that out. 15-minute fair value gap, inside center. Sorry, guys, inside right. Okay. So let me drop to the 1 minute. Okay. And I want a sweep of this high. And then I want an entry model out of that. So let's see what happens. We don't even sweep the high. Accumulating. Again, guys, there's no trade until we sweep this high. So let's see. Okay, it looks like we didn't even sweep the high, so there wouldn't have been a trade there. I would not have traded today, since all I would be waiting for would be that high sweep. We never put in a top wick. There was an entry here. I actually did not see that. I skipped through it too fast. So right here, we could have used this 15-minute gap right here. And then, right, we would need to sweep this and get an entry model out of that. So we tapped in it there. And then this would have been the change in state. This would have been the change in state. And then, remember, guys, 3 confluences: liquidity sweep, SMT, and change in state. So let's see if ES tapped into that gap. Right, ES didn't tap into that gap. So this would have been a good setup, actually. Right here, we have that SMT. As you can see, this same candle did not get swept on ES, but it got swept on NQ, right here. So my entry would have taken place on this candle closure. So this is a 250K account. So I would have risked like $800. Or let me do this. Let me do the math. 0.5% of 250K is 1250. Wait. Let me do the math. I'm doing it on my calculator. Okay, so 1250. So I could have put on, entry would have gone here, stop would have gone at the high, 143, right? So say $5 tick. Okay, I would have been risking, could have put like 20 micros on this trade, which would be 10 times 143. Okay, that's too much. So it would have been, sorry guys, bear with me here. Probably would have just put on like 15 contracts or something. 15 is what? 15 times 0.5. 7.5 times 143 is 1,072. This would have been putting on $1,000 of risk onto this trade, which is way too much. But just say I take it with 10. All right, so I would have sold here. Stop would have gone at this high. And then first TP would have been 2R. Right, that would have been the trade. No, don't want to go back. And let's see what happens. And then I would have gotten profit right there. Okay, so that would have been my first trade, right? And then that would have been my first trade of the week, and then I would have logged off. So now let's go to Tuesday. Let me go to the 4 hour. Okay. 4 hour, let me X this out, right? Let me skip over to Tuesday's 10 a.m. candle. Where is it? Okay, it should be like right here. What is this? Tuesday's 2 p.m. Fuck. Sorry, guys. Went too far ahead once again. Okay, so 10 a.m. candle is about to open up. What time is it here? Okay, so 10 a.m. candle just opened. Okay, and what we have here is this fair value gap. Okay, so ideally, this is the bottom wick, or we haven't, let me just go here, 15 minute, let's see. Okay, so this 10 a.m. candle opened up. I would want to see a trade into this fair value gap and then an entry out of there. Okay, so if this fair value gap gets mitigated, then I would like to see entry out of here. Again, remember, this is a classic buy week, so we went short. Really important that we always keep that in mind, right? Okay, since it's a classic buy week, okay, what did I say? A classic buy week is Monday, low of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, up close candles, and then Friday's a down close candle, right? So keep that in mind. As you can see, that's how I use the weekly PO3 to determine my bias, because I'm not finding my daily bias every day. I anticipate this 10 a.m. candle to be an up close candle because of the way that price has been moving. So let's see what we can get out of here. I'm going to drop down to the 1 minute, and let me just go here. 1 minute, right? Okay, so what do I want to see here? I want a sweep of liquidity into this gap. So I want to break this low right here, and then I want an entry model out of this gap. So let's see. We don't sweep that low. That's a failure swing. We don't sweep the low again. Okay, and at this point, I'd be annoyed because of these failure swings, because I was waiting for a long here the whole day. But price never goes ahead and touches this gap. So I probably would not have traded today. Or here, what I would have done is, since we're clearly moving to the upside, right, this would be a continuation trade. I'd wait for a pullback into this 15-minute gap for a trade to the upside. So let's see what happens. Mark out this low, right? Okay. Do we touch there? We do touch that gap, right? Okay. As you can see, we tapped into that 15-minute fair value gap. So now the three confluences, right? I need this change in state. I need SMT. So let's see. Okay. Let me go to the 15-minute time frame. Right, and there is SMT, because as you can see on ES, we never even tapped into that gap. Okay, so that's some bullish SMT. You see on ES, we didn't tap in, and then on MNQ, we did tap in, right? So a candle closure above this leg right here would be a change in state. So let's see. Okay, we sweep the low. All right, let's see. So now the change in state is this level because we swept that low. Let's see on ES. Okay, we still haven't tapped into that gap, so there's still a lot of bullish SMT, as well as we made equal lows here, while on NASDAQ, we clearly swept those lows. So I'm waiting for a candle closure above here. Okay, disrespect that PD array. There's no entry. We never got a change in state. So now let me go back to the 15-minute time frame. and I'm going to look for a PD array that we can actually use to get an entry here. The only PD array that I see is this fair value gap down here. All right, so now let me go back to ES. Let me see if I can use similar. I think it's here. Is this the same candlestick? I'm not sure. What is this? The 930 candle. This is the 945 candle. Okay, so this is ES's fair value gap. But if we break this low, that's SMT, right? The low of the 10 a.m. candle. Let's see. Low of the 10 a.m. candle right here. And there is a small fair value gap on ES right here. Okay, let's see what happens. Go back to NQ. Let me drop down to the 1 minute. All right, so we want price to pull into this gap. Okay, and immediately just goes up. I probably wouldn't trade this at this point. It's 12 p.m. Yeah, this is not a trading day. I wouldn't have taken any trades this day. Actually, as soon as I say that, we do have this fair value gap. So I probably would have gotten off the charts by now, but I think it's important to see. If we have one here, we do. Okay, and we could already see some SMT. ES swept that low, right? On ES, we swept this 1241 low. Let's see what happened on NQ. Oh, we also swept this 1241 low. So there isn't SMT there. But let's see what happens. Okay, so if we close above this leg, probably be a trade. Let's see. Okay, so this candle right here would confirm that change in state, but do we have SMT? Let me see. I don't think we do have SMT. What did we sweep? Okay, did this candle get swept on ES? This 1211 candle. 1211. 1211. Yeah, it did. Yeah, so I wouldn't take this trade because there isn't SMT. Okay, so with that being said, this is a no trade day. Let's see what happens at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. is about to open. Where is that 2 p.m. candle? Boom. Okay. 315, 330, 345. Okay. So at this point, right, we have the 2 p.m. candles about to open. The only PD array I see is right here or right here. Okay. Let's see. I would be willing. So depending on how this 2 p.m. candle opens determines which PD array I'm using. So if this candle opens and starts immediately displacing to the downside, then I would be bullish. If this 2 p.m. candle opens and starts displacing to the upside, I'd be bearish. But I do have to keep in mind that this is Tuesday. So this is supposed to be an up close candle on the daily time frame, right? Referring back to that weekly PO3. So my bias would be bullish, but that's why I'd be willing to put on this risk. So let's see on ES, do we have any PD arrays? Let me remove these drawings. I think we have the same PD arrays. We have this fair value gap that has not been tapped into. I think that's the same 945 candle, right? Yeah, it is. And then we also have this bearish fair value gap right here as well. So let's see what happens. Drop down to the 1 minute. Okay. 1 minute. And let's see. Okay, so we immediately start displacing to the downside into this fair value gap. So with that being said, I would refer back to ES, and we actually have still not tapped into that gap on ES. So that's some bullish SMT right here. Okay. I hope you see how that's bullish SMT. Now, last thing we do, right? We had the liquidity sweep, we had the SMT. We're looking for a candle closure above the series of down close candles that swept low. So this was the down close candle. Candle closure above this would be a bullish change in state. So let's see what happens. We immediately change the state of delivery. And so I would, how many points of risk would this be? Okay, this would be 164 points or 164 ticks. So I could probably put 3. Okay, I would probably, let me risk the same. So like risk 750, right? 164. Okay, so like I would put, let me do the math. I put 9 contracts on this trade, 9 micros. So I would go long there. And then my stop would go at this low, right? At the protected low. And then I would target 2R, whatever that is. So probably this high. I like that. And my TP would go up here. Okay. Let's see what happens. Right there. I would be all out. All right. So that would be the second 2 p.m. trade. We were in drawdown for a while, but trade ended up working out. Right. So now we fast forward to Wednesday. Right. So that was a solid trade. Let me just X out these orders. And let's go to Wednesday. Okay. The 4-hour chart. Okay. How do I, whatever, hide orders? Okay. 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 So now fast forwarding to Wednesday. Where's Wednesday's candle? Wednesday's right here. Okay. So this is Wednesday's 6 a.m. candle. All right. Wednesday's 10 a.m. candle is about to open. Let's drop down to the 15-minute. Okay. Let me move this over here so I can see it. All right. So all of this, what do we have? Obviously, we're bullish. No reason to be bearish. So I want this 10 a.m. candle to open up. Oh, it's a 9 a.m. Whoops. Oh, shit. Where is this? 9:30, 9:45. Okay. So this 10 a.m. candle. Wait, let me let this 9:45 close. Okay. So at 10 a.m., what do I see? I see this fair value gap down here. Okay. So I want price to open up on this 10 a.m., manipulate in here, and then trade out. Let's go back to ES, see if we have a fair value gap, in which we do. Right here. Okay. So let's go back to MNQ. Go to the 1 minute. Again, you know what I'm waiting for. Let me move this up here. I'm waiting for that 10 a.m. candle to sweep this liquidity, right, and tap into this gap. Okay, as you can see, we have this weird candle here, which we tapped into. I remember this day. I didn't take a trade this day, but so we tapped there. Now this is liquidity. This is where we have to sweep, right? Unless we have that candle closure up here, which would be bad. So let's see. Nothing. You see, like I wouldn't take this trade because I would be putting on. So, right, we had the candle closure on this candle, right? And typically you'd say, Charlie, why don't you enter there? Well, because if I entered there, then I'd be putting on 332 points of risk to win. You know, so like that's not even a 2-hour trade. So I wouldn't take this. Yeah. So then what happens is we go ahead and sweep this liquidity. Change in state is on this candle right here. But once again, there's no trade here unless I wait for a retest, because look how much risk I'll be putting on, right? If I enter on the candle closure, I'm literally still putting on 350 ticks of risk, 188 points of risk for 84 points. So like that's obviously a 0.95 R trade. I'm not going to take that. So unless we retest this, I wouldn't enter. So let's see, we actually never retested it, and then it goes ahead and hits data highs right here, which is the final TP. So yeah, I wouldn't have taken that trade, and I didn't. But so that's Wednesday. Let's skip over to 2 p.m. Okay. 2 p.m. is right here. So 1, 2, 3. 2 p.m. is about to open. Let's go to the 15-minute. Right, and what do we have? We have absolutely nothing. We have this fair value gap that's already been tapped into. So it's mitigated. Unless we have like a trade with little to no risk, I wouldn't take this. So let's see. There is SMT at those highs. Let me X that out. Okay. So with that being said, let me drop down to the 1 minute. And what are we waiting for? Well, we are waiting for that 2 p.m. to open up. Where's 2 p.m.? Okay, so 2 p.m. is about to open. Okay, so wait. Okay, so this 2 p.m. candle just opened. I would like to see a sweep of this liquidity. Right. This is just a bad setup, but let's see what happens. I don't really like this at all. Where is ES? Yeah, ES needs to sweep this liquidity. It's equal highs right here for me to consider a trade. So let's see. All right, just bad PA. Nothing there. We did sweep this, but like I'm not going to do that. Why am I not going to do that? Because this fair value gap has already been mitigated over here, and I'm not going to put on, where is the change in state? Change in state is right here. I'm not going to put on this much risk. I'm going to put on 135 points of risk on a PD array. Whoops. I'm not going to put on this much risk for a PD array that's already been mitigated, right? This was the change in state. So this would have been the entry. Oops. Right there. The stop would have gone at the high, and then I would have targeted 2R right here. But I wouldn't take this trade because I'm not going to put on this risk on a PD array that's already been mitigated. Right. It would have went ahead and took the TP though, which is nice, but wouldn't have taken it, so it doesn't count. Okay. So let's fast forward to Thursday. Right. Thursday's 10 a.m. candle. Oh shit, wait. Okay, 6 a.m. Let's go to the 15-minute. Okay, where's 10 a.m.? Okay, so 10 a.m. opened right here. All right. What would we do? We would, again, has to be an up close candle. Why? Because the weekly profile is bullish. Remember, right now in the weekly profile, we are here, right? We're bullish. We have a classic bye week. So Monday, low of week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, down close, right? Right now in this weekly PO3, we are here. So Thursday and Friday. Thursday has to still continue trading higher, and then Friday close. So with that being said, I'm bullish. So let me mark out this fair value gap right here. Okay, let me mark it out on ES as well. Okay, so ideally here, I want a manipulation into this gap. And then I want an entry out of it to the upside. So with that being said, I want price to go ahead and sweep this low and trade into that gap, right? Let's go down to the 1 minute. Okay, we never swept the low. So we did not get an entry here unless we sweep the low. Nope, looks like we are not going to sweep the low. So in this case, I would try to use some sort of other PD ray, but there are no PD rays here. So let's see. 15-minute time frame. All right, so right here, I'd just be waiting. I wouldn't be doing anything. All right, it's 11:45. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so, you guys weren't supposed to see that because right here, I'd just be waiting for an entry, and I would see this 15-minute fair value gap. Okay, let me mark it out on ES as well. This 15-minute fair value gap, and I would want an entry out of this fair value gap. Okay, so let's drop down to the 1 minute. Okay, on the 1 minute, I want us to sweep this low into the gap. Let's go to the 1 minute. Okay, we swept the low. Change in state is up here, right? Because this is the series of down close candles that swept the lows. Do we have SMT? We do, because as you can see, ES did not sweep this low, right? So going back to MNQ, let's see. Okay, this candle closure right here would be my entry. How many points of risk would this be? Stop goes at the low, 118 ticks, so 29 points of risk. I would target 2R. So in this case scenario, I would look on the 1 hour for like liquidity or something, 4 hour, right? What do I see? I see this high all the way here, right? So what I would do in that scenario is probably just target 2R, right? So target 2R, okay. And I could put on $700 of risk again. So if I were to put on $700 of risk, that would be, let me do some math. It'd be like $6. So that would be 12 contracts, right? I think, yeah. 12, yeah. So that's 700 of risk. So I would go long right here. My stop would go at this low, and my final TP would go at this high, right? And then I would go ahead and let this play out. Okay, would have gotten stopped there, right? Not a great setup. I would be willing to try this again though if we have more SMT inside of this gap. Do we? Do we have SMT? Let's see. This could be SMT. I'm not sure if NASDAQ swept that low or not. It did sweep that low, so I wouldn't try this again. And that would be an L day. That was so that would be bad. That would have been a red trade. Not bad, just a red trade. So what I would do is I would wait for 2 p.m. 2 a.m. That would be crazy. I'd wait for 2 p.m. So let me skip over to 2 p.m. Right. I can just do it on the 15-minute, honestly. Right. So where is 2 p.m.? Boom, boom. All right, 2 p.m. is about to open. So in that case, let me clear this drawing. Let's look for any PD rays that we may have. Don't really have any PD rays on the 15-minute. Are there any hourly PD rays? there are not any hourly PD rays except this unmitigated hourly gap. If we have it on the 15-minute, then I would be down to use that one instead. We do not have that on the 15-minute, but we do have this order block that I would like to use. So let's see. Here we have this 15-minute order block. Do we have it on ES? What candle is this? This is the 11:15 candle. Wait, 11:15. Where the hell am I? Why am I only on 11 p.m.? What the fuck? I'm looking for 2 p.m., right? What the fuck? 1 minute. Okay. Oh, wait, I'm stupid. It's because it's the 11:15 order block. I'm an idiot. It's so dumb. Okay, 11:15 order block. Do we have it on ES? We do. Let me clear these drawings. Okay, so since we have it on ES, let's see what happens once that 2 p.m. candle opens up. Let me drop down to the 1 minute. Again, guys, I want price to sweep liquidity into this order block. So like right here. All right, let's see. Go down to the 1 minute. Okay, 2 p.m. is almost there. 2 p.m. is right here. So the 2 p.m. just opened up. Okay, so that 2 p.m. just opened up. And let's see what happens. Wait, let me go to the 15 minutes, see if there are any other PD rays after that happened. Yeah, actually, there are. This isn't really clean, but I would consider this an order block that got tapped into right here. So let's see if this was mitigated on ES. So you can see this order block. Let me rewind a little bit to when this was mitigated. Okay, right there. Okay. Let me see. ES for the 15 minute. All right, so this order block is what we're looking at. Let's see. All right, so 2 p.m. opens up. Boom. Got tapped into right there. Did it get tapped into on ES? It did not get tapped into on ES, so that would be SMT right here at this low. Not there, right there. And then change in state of delivery would be right here. Let's see. Okay. I don't know if I would take this trade just because of the amount of risk that I would have to put on. Yeah, I would. And this would be, again, like 12 contracts. So, whoops. Okay, so I would enter right here. Buy stop would go at this low. And then to our final TP. Okay, so let's see what happens. It gets stopped out there. Another bad trade. So Thursday would have been a bad trading day. And then let's go on to Friday. Let me go on the hourly. Okay. Friday's 10 a.m. candle. Okay, Friday's 10 a.m. candle. Okay, 10 a.m. candle is about to open up. We have these huge ranges. Don't like that. But let's see what we got. The 15 minute. Let's look for 10 a.m. Oh, what did I just do? 10 a.m. Okay, let's drop down to the 1 minute. Let's look for PD rays. We have this. This fair value gap has been mitigated, and then we have this order block right here. We have this order block. It's been tapped into. So if we do take a trade inside of this order block, it's already been tapped into, so I wouldn't take it on unless it's very slight risk. So let's see what happens. Let me mark it out on ES. What candle is that? That is a 415 candle. Let's see, 415 candle right here. Let's drop down to the 1 minute. Go back to MNQ. Okay, where is it? All the way up there. So let's see what happens. Okay, well, it looks like we're not going to tap into it. It's a terrible PA. Oh, well, looks like we wouldn't have traded on Friday. Yeah, so this would have been this past week. Pretty bad. Pretty bad PA this week, but this would have been the results. So we would have been up like $2,000 on the week. 50% win rate, but 2.73 profit factor. So I'm fine with that. Like this would be a week that I'm happy with, because it's green. Obviously, like you would have this week multiplied on many accounts. So like, say you're trading 5 top step accounts, you'd be up like 10 or 11, on the week. So even though we have that 50% trade win rate, we have that profit factor, we have the average win loss, we have the day win percentage at 66%, and we still ended the week green because we managed our risk. And yeah, with that being said, that is the conclusion of this video. I hope you learned a lot from this backtesting session. I've been wanting to make a video like this for a while, just going through a whole week's worth of PA, and I felt like this past week would have been good because it was some bad PA. So with that being said, subscribe down below, leave me a comment, letting me know if you learned anything or you enjoyed this video. Like if you want. Again, if you leave a comment, I will probably respond to it because I read all my comments. I hope this video helped, and have a great rest of your week. Peace out.